Hey reviewers, and welcome back to the channel. I hope you've been well. Today we're doing the first of our proper reviews for Groombridge Motorcycles. So it's one of our new dealer relationships. I'm really pleased to have them on board because not only have they got a fantastic range of motorcycles now, some of the newer versions coming out in 2021 are going to be amazing. So I'm genuinely excited to bring you these. Today we've got the Kawasaki Z900RS. So this isn't the cafe version, this is the proper RS. And it's the first time I've taken one of these out, and I have to say, so far, I'm very impressed with it. Do you know what? For a bike which, it weighs 215 when it's wet, but it actually feels incredibly agile, so that was one of the first things I noticed on it. But although it seems like quite a chunky bike, it's actually very nimble and it's very easy to chuck around. But I'll come on to the handling a bit later on then, so let's talk about it. So it's inspired by, or its roots go back to the 1970s Z1, and I'll do a picture of it here so you can have a look. Now the Z1 was obviously a classic motorcycle and you know, very popular, and Kawasaki have always made sure that they innovate and they bring you something fresh. Now the current version, this one here, the Z900, it actually derives more currently from the Kawasaki 900Z or Z900. So that's a more modern looking bike. You know, it's got all of the toys on it, but actually this one comes directly from that. So don't be mistaken thinking, oh, this is a bit of a classic, and actually it doesn't have that. It's got all of the technology. It's just really the styling which separates them. So styling wise, yeah, this has got that kind of more relaxed cafe racer type look, and I guess you would compare it to maybe let's say the Bonneville, Triumph Bonneville, Ducati Scrambler perhaps as well. So that kind of bike. And who is it aimed at? I guess it would be aimed at somebody who wants, you know, a comfortable bike but with a nice bit of power to go with it as well, because this, although you know it's not a litre bike, it's kind of cheating because it's actually 948cc, so it's not exactly far from it, and it's got a slightly, not necessarily detuned but retuned engine from the Z900 or 900Z. So rather than having 125 brake, just to keep it simple and round it up, I guess it's 110 horsepower on this one, and again, to keep it simple, 95 newton meters of torque. So it's actually incredibly punchy. Engine wise, 4-cylinder 16 valve inline dual overhead cam, so not a triple, so I've done a few of those recently. But I've got to say, actually it's lovely just kind of switching back to review something like an inline 4 again. I'm a massive fan of the triples, but obviously I love all motorcycles, and it's just nice for the change. But this is lovely and smooth, silky smooth, and it's got a nice soundtrack. As always, we're going to try and keep within speed limits for the review, so I can't go crazy on it. But yeah, it's absolutely lovely. Economy wise for the engine, you're looking at around 50 miles per gallon, which for a near enough litre bike is obviously exceptional. Can't really complain about that at all. And then in terms of features, because I mentioned it's got all of them, and it does really, so it is trying to give you a bit more of a retro feel. So you've actually got the dual instrument panel there, analog instruments, but in the middle you've also got the LCD screen, and on the LCD screen is where you've got all of your rider information. So you've got a digital fuel gauge on there, you've got digital control of the traction control system on here, you've got a gear display indicator so you know what you're in, you've got your date, your time, you've got your range, so you've actually got all of the features on there that you would really want. And I like that. I really like that blend of things. I know we've got into a world now where everything's got a massive TFT screen on it, and you know, even my bike's got that on there. But there was definitely a time before it was kind of more mainstream where I've got to admit I was still kind of thinking I prefer the analog dials, because it didn't take much concentration really to see what you were doing. You know, it was more of an audible cue, but I kind of just liked it there. In the corner of your eye you can see red lines, you can see your speed, you can see what you're doing. So this kind of combines the two, and I really like that. I think it's a fantastic combination. if you go for the Z, the 900Z, you can get a full TFT screen on there and obviously go for the full modern look. But this one's for somebody that wants the toys, but with a more classic feel. So going on to a bit more about the technology on the bike. So we've got Kawasaki traction control, and you've got various modes that you can select and change just on here. We've got it set in, I think it's the rain mode at the moment because the weather's been super changeable, but you can just change it on here. Press the button and it will just go through. So press that and select. You can see them on there. Nice and easy. So yeah, I like that feature on there. It's good to have, it's nice to know. ABS, yeah, absolutely, you get that as standard. So you've got ABS system on the bike, and it's linked to the braking system via 2 radial 300mm discs at the front and the Kawasaki calipers. And on the back you've got a single disc, and again Kawasaki caliper. In fact, actually no, sorry, my mistake, Nissan caliper on the back. Braking wise, obviously I'm not going to be doing any emergency braking today, but so far the response has been fantastic, as you'd expect. There's the car right behind me, so just going to get to this 40 because he's keen to go. But yeah, very responsive. The feel's fantastic, really like it. Now this particular model, in terms of transmission, then you've got a 6-speed box, 1 down 5 up traditionally. One day we might start talking about this as a DSG on some of the ones we're going to be reviewing, but for now it's traditional, 1 down 5 up. And you've got the shift assist and slipper clutch on here as well from Kawasaki, so you can obviously use the clutches shifting system, which again is very smooth, and a lot of bikes have it now, so you're probably well versed on it. If you haven't, give one a try, be brave, take the step and use it, and you'll be impressed. But they are very smooth. Fueling on it as well, a lot of people said to me, well, you know, the way that the Kawasaki dual throttle approach works is that sometimes in a lower gear it can actually be a bit too responsive, and I haven't found that at all. I've actually found it to be just perfect. You know, it's actually very well fueled and very smooth. The delivery is lovely. I mean, it really is. In the future maybe there'll be a way for you guys to kind of feel the ride of the bike, I don't know, but for now obviously you've got to listen to me, but I can assure you it's very smooth. We bring the power in there, the delivery is lovely, and I'm barely even turning the throttle, so really smooth, really responsive. This is a bike where, you know, some of its brothers, if you like, are a bit more hardcore focused. They've got that kind of transformery look and feel to them, which a lot of modern bikes do. This one is going to give you the power, it's going to give you the economy, it's going to give you the toys and the features and the functions that you would want from a modern bike. One, without being super expensive, and two, being very comfortable. In a minute I'm going to cut to this seat, and the seat is lovely. And if you've watched any of my reviews recently, I've been talking about seats on a few bikes. This one is lovely. It's wide, it's comfortable, it's leather, obviously it's waterproof. It is fantastic. This is a bike that you could definitely do a ton of miles in without feeling fatigued in any way, shape or form. And just talking about the fatigue and the design of it, what helps that is this one, in comparison to the Z900, you know, the transformery type, this one's got riser bars on it, if you like, so the riding position's very comfortable. It's not kind of chin down type position, and although the seat height is 835mm, pre-riding this I thought, yeah, actually it's going to seem really tall, but it's not. So the position that I'm in, obviously if you can see this, you know, it's kind of right angles really. Knees are not too high, it's very comfortable, but it still gives it a bit of a sporty feel, which I like. But yeah, ergonomics is absolutely lovely. Going on to the handling then, and a bit of the setup there. So what's coming in a lot of modern bikes these days, you've got your upside down forks, so it's no different here. You've got upside down forks on the front. These are fully adjustable, so you can definitely set it up and make it your own. And on the back you've got Kawasaki's branded horizontal gas springs on there as well, and again that's adjustable, so you can really make it your own. Right, so speaking of the weight then, the wet figure for this bike is 215 kilograms. So it's not a heavy bike, and that's fueled, right? So the fuel tank on this is 17 litres, so I'm not saying it's going to be precise, but a bit of quick math, let's just say it's going to be around 200 kilograms dry. So it's not a heavy bike in terms of how big the engine is on this, and that makes it a very well-rounded machine. So you've got nice power there, you've got fantastic torque at 95, you've got really good economy, and it's comfortable. So if you're looking for a bike where you can put some miles into it without being fatigued, and you want a bike where it's got that kind of retro feel to it, but without being too plasticky, you know, overly modern, with a great soundtrack, I would definitely say check one of these out. I try and stay impartial on the reviews, guys, because I think it's very hard to go and find a bad motorcycle today unless you're buying something a bit dodgy online somewhere. So it's always going to come down to your preference. But do I think this is a great bike? Yeah, definitely. It's very comfortable. Massive fan of the seat. Riding position is very good. Handling is very responsive. Not to the police van and the biker at the same time. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. Mirror placement, I mean, mirrors, you know, it can be a bit of a controversial topic for a lot of bikes. Some of them they're too small, some of them are too big, some of them just don't like the design. This bike, they're not offensive in any way. They're perfectly functional. They do the job. They do exactly what you would want them to do, which is help you to see what's behind you. Obviously you get some adjustment on there, and you can also buy additional accessories, so you can jazz them up, you can change the design if you want to as well. But yeah, no, absolutely perfect. Really, really like it. Speaking of things that you can add to the bike, what you don't get as standard, and it's not a knock because we'll come on to the price in a minute, but one of the things you don't get as standard is heated grips, which I would just say, if you're going to go for this bike, if you're in the market for it, just whack those on there. You owe it to yourself. But even if the stock bike in the showroom that you're looking at doesn't have it, you can get an Oxford set anyway, which are incredible, and I no doubt the dealer could get them for you and put them on before you get your bike anyway. I would just say get that, because if you're going to be doing a bit of all-weather riding, you owe it to yourself. My hands aren't cold, it is cold out here, but I'd imagine if you're going to do long rides, especially anything regarding dual carriageways and motorways, then go for the grips, because it'll feel great, you owe it to yourself. You can also get hand protection as well, so you can look at those as accessories. Other than that, there is not a lot that I would change on this bike, it really isn't. I think it's very well specified. So coming on to the price things, I said I'd mention that. It starts from 10,399 on the road. I think the road tax is just over 90 quid, so much like a lot of bikes. Just to go through the gears a little bit, give you a bit of that sound. So yeah, for just over 10 grand, you get a lot of bike for it, I think. As always, this sector is very, very competitive. You know, middleweight kind of naked style, cafe racer type style, very competitive. Would I put it on my shortlist? Yeah, absolutely, definitely do that. I personally really like the look of these. I think they sound great. But you're sport for choice in this category, so the best advice I can say is, if you like the bike, book yourself, go and see one, and see what you think of it. And if you can, try and line up some other reviews so you get them done at the same time. But I don't think you'd be disappointed with this at all. I mean, I'm massively impressed with it. It's got a great sound. It's got great power delivery. Kawasaki's always have a lovely whistle as well. Even though it's not a triple, you just get that kind of induction whistle and roar, and I really like it. And we are using the upgraded audio today. We've got the upgraded dash cam, so hopefully you're picking some of this up a bit better. I'm going to be working on that setup as well in the coming weeks, so be kind if it's not spot on in the comments. There is a bit of a tweaking process, I'm afraid, that can only be really perfected after you've done it a few times and reviewed the footage and listened to it, so just bear with. But yeah, hopefully it sounds really, really good. If it is a massive success, I'm probably going to get another external recorder as well, and we'll hide that maybe in the backpack or something, so you're going to get the microphone picking up audio from up here, from my voice as well, and around, something for the back where we can pick up more engine noise and exhaust as well. But if you can hear that, very, very nice. So you don't have rider modes on this, so you've got traction control, but you don't have rider modes, so you do get the full belt whenever you need it. But don't be afraid of it, although it is torquey, you've got that traction control there, and it's such a good system, such a good system. If you've not watched some of the videos, not mine, but if you haven't watched some of the videos online of the Kawasaki system being tested, not just by them, but by professionals, go and check it out, because it's massively impressive, honestly. I mean, the things that these bikes can do now is for the most part far in excess of a rider's skill, so you never have to worry about it. The bike's got your back. Alright, so we're coming back into the town area now. That sound, I love it. Induction noise, very, very nice. It's got a lovely growl to it. So yeah, it is lovely. When it opens up a little bit down here, I can give it a bit more beans. Just trying to get to our economy there quickly. Wow. Okay, so look at that. So the figure for this bike is meant to be 50 miles per gallon. And obviously take what you will from a computer, but from this ride, we've definitely not been trying to get you an MPG figure. If you can see that, 54.5. That's really good. Really, really good. Yeah, no, that's impressive. You can change the features on there just by this little selector button here. So, long-term trips, odometer, temperature, 9 degrees, a bit warmer, woohoo! And then your range. But yeah, to get 54, that's really impressive. Very, very good. Yeah, this would be a great commuter bike. I mean, not only is it comfortable, but you get good economy, great power if you need it. There are restrictor kits available as well, so if you're not going for your full license, but you want something with a bit more power, this is a great choice. It can be fitted at the dealer, and it's all electronic these days, so they can actually be fitted and taken off super easy. So when you get your full license, you can wreak havoc. Right, let's give it a bit of beans for you guys, just so you can hear it. Get that growl going. Given the conditions, I'm not going to go crazy, but I just want you to hear a bit of that noise. It's lovely. Right, so just to recap before I give it a bit more down here then. Peak horsepower is at 8,500 RPM, and that's 110 or 109.4. And the peak torque is 95.5 to be precise, at 6.5. So you get a great deal of power. I'm just going to hold back here so we can give you a little bit of beans, just so you can see it. But it's usable power. I can assure you actually that comes in very nicely. That induction roar that you get, oh, that whistle. It sounds like it's got some kind of forced induction on it. It hasn't. That is really nice. Yeah, get a load of that. That's lovely. So just to keep you posted then on the Kawasaki front, what we've got coming next, guys. And if you made it to this point in the video, I can only say thank you so much, and I really appreciate your support. What we've got next coming up, we're going to do the big 1 litre Versus, the brand new one. Weather pending, it is obviously a bit tricky in the UK at the moment, but weather pending, we're going to be doing that in the next couple of weeks. So keep an eye out for that one, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please do. Obviously I'd love to have you here, and I'm working hard to make the channel as great as we can. In terms of dealerships, we've got Kawasaki on board, we've got a Suzuki dealership, we've got BMW, we've got Triumph, Royal Enfield, so it's really coming together. We've got BMW cars, Nissan vehicles as well, so we've got a fantastic selection. I'm working on a few more dealerships as well. It's still kind of under wraps, so when it's more official I'll let you know. But if that comes through, it's a biggie, and we've basically got everything covered. So it really is a great place to come if you like cars and motorbikes especially. So as always, thank you so much. Hey chap, be great to hear what you think, and let me know what you'd like to see next. Doesn't have to necessarily be a Kawasaki, BMW as well, Triumph. Let me know what you think. Suzuki to an extent as well. So yeah, do let me know. And as always, thank you so much. Stay safe, have fun, and I'll see you on the next one.